Today we're in Cascade, Edinburgh's best juggling shop.
Edinburgh's only juggling
Yes,
shop.
yes. So this is it. We're here with Colin and Bob,
Yeah.
who both work here. Just to start with, just tell us a little bit, Cascade. What is it? When did it start?
You know? Or, yeah.
Sorry, it's the one who said, I know this stuff about the shop history, don't worry, I've got it.
Cool. Welcome to Street Stories. In this episode, we talk to the folk at Cascade Juggling Shop in Edinburgh. # not sponsored. We talk about the industry, the community, and stick around till the end for news of the Scottish and British juggling conventions.
Yeah, I've been juggling like 10 years now. Started when I was in university with Bob, and we started juggling at the same time.
Right.
Yeah.
Nice.
Living in Dundee, and I saw someone juggling at a party and was like, I need to learn that. And I did an art degree, so had plenty of time to learn to juggle.
One of the one in 200 who thinks juggling is cool when they first see it.
Yeah.
And Bob, what about you?
Yeah, as Colin was saying, 10 years ago back in Dundee, slightly different reasons. My dad had just passed away. I was in the process of dropping out of uni, and doing a lot of reevaluating about what hobbies I had in my life and things that I was involved with. And yeah, there was a few other friends around, sort of into Diablo and Poi and juggling. Learned a little bit and spiraled from there.
Cascade's been here as like a physical shop for like 6 years now. We've been doing circus and magic and all sorts of other like skill toy bits for that time. The business itself has been going for like a year or so before that. Henry, who is the owner of the shop and unfortunately not here today.
Not the same Henrys who makes the...
No, not the same Henrys who makes the clubs. But yeah, Henry had the business running as like an online only thing for maybe like a year or so before he opened this. So.
And do you know why he decided to go physical and not just stay online?
I think because originally he was paying for a warehouse space to do the online stuff from, and it made more sense to have like a physical shop so we get to speak to people and interact with people, and it still kind of does all the space for the online stuff.
Great.
It's just much nicer having like chats.
So obviously you sell things online and in person. People have a perception that online is cheaper but more dodgy, if you like. But you do both of them. Do you keep the same prices across your physical shop and the online shop?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the one thing that kind of has to come into account is shipping costs,
Right.
And so that's always going to like bump up the price ever so slightly.
But
off
the
our
actual
website. But the actual products themselves are the same in store as online.
I think there's like this misconception sometimes that Amazon's cheapest, whereas actually really, if you're buying like maybe one thing, it's going to be the same as anywhere else. But if you're buying like multiple stuff, you're going to save on shipping by buying it either direct from someone or going to the shop and doing it, to be honest.
Do you sell through Amazon as well?
Yeah, we do a bit.
Okay, so you have your own website, which is...
CascadeJuggling.com.
But you also sell through other third-party sellers like Amazon and other stuff like that. Cool. You've got a lot of odd props and different things in here which aren't immediately obvious what they are. Have you had people come in asking for odd stuff? Is there stuff that you don't sell or like?
Yeah, I mean, like maybe for us, odd things have maybe become a little bit more
Standard?
Yeah. So we asked for shoelaces or volleyballs, dog toys.
I mean, when I was an old school boy, fluoro shoelaces were sold by juggling suppliers because they made really good handles for nets. We'd put Aerotex in the washing bag nets and then have them on fluoro shoelaces, and that was how people would spin. That was the
That's cool.
the
That's
way
cool.
to do it. So
Yeah.
maybe shoelaces. Maybe you should look into shoelaces. Your next big product.
They're just other forms of balls. I guess for a while we had the mini tandem bike in the window, which would bring in a lot of attention, but like it became a very usual thing for us to see.
Did you ever sell it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
Wow.
To a performer who was heading to a gig.
Could you maybe point out one of your favourite products in the shop, or something you really like? Obviously, they're all really good, but like, what do you personally enjoy playing with?
At the moment, like I've been really enjoying playing with kendamas quite a lot. Again, for that small scale, maximum amount of frustration.
For me, like, I suppose that these guys are my favourites. Usually 90 mils. They make the best poi. I'm really happy we managed to get these.
You make them for, use them for poi?
Yeah, I use these to make my poi with, so
nice.
I'm really happy we managed to get
what
these.
What are they?
They're made by a French company called Yosi. But they do the only like really soft, squidgy 90 mils about. So I was super happy we managed to get these in and find them.
Cool. In the shop here, what's happened to you guys over the lockdown? Like have you just closed the shop essentially?
No, we were kind of doing the online. Well, the physical shop was closed for the first part, and we continued the online thing. Just having one of us in each day, which was hilarious because we got real busy at the start.
Of course, loads of people wanting stuff for lockdown.
And no shops open, so
yeah.
But it's kind of like gone a bit more normal again now. We've got 2 of us in at least like a couple days a week. So
would you say there's actually been a spike in turnover?
I mean, it's hard to tell.
Yeah.
Maybe in the first sort of like month or so of lockdown, I'd say while there was like still an uncertainty of how long things are going to go on for, and with the needs to stay inside and be in a confined space and to kind of like fidget. I think there was a little bit of a drop off when those restrictions were lifted and we entered into summer. People just want to be outside. So,
I've still got the hope that once everything like goes back and we get our like conventions and juggling clubs back, we're going to see like 1 million new jugglers.
Yes. Yeah, well, I've definitely seen a few out there. It seems like all the cool kids at the moment are putting out YouTube channels. For some reason, we can't be doing our normal like performance avenues, so there's a lot of YouTube going on. And Cascade itself, you guys have been shooting loads of videos, some really cool videos. I'll put some links in the description. So can you tell me, like, I've noticed that you've been up for about a year, but you've really started doing a lot more recently, yeah?
Yeah, it's something that we were in talks with quite a lot over about 1.5 years, trying to find ways of better highlighting what's going on in the community, trying to, lift up other performers, make their stories shared, possibly inspire other people to get into it. And tried a bunch of different formats, but I guess running an online business and a physical shop and not all of us being here all the time didn't always leave a lot of space to try and fit that in. In the last 6 months, things have changed quite dramatically.
Have you got any sort of future plans for the shop or for Cascade? Is there anything on the horizon?
That bleak uncertainty, things that we're trying to avoid discussing. As you mentioned, we're trying to get a lot more sort of like media stuff on the in the cogs at the moment. Working on doing product reviews, tutorials. Again, hopefully interesting interviews with local performers and jugglers, and just trying to get and capture some of their stories.
Apparently there's going to be a great interview with a local performer coming up on their channel soon, which we'll link up to.
We're going to try and race you to it.
The other thing that we kind of were doing a bit getting into before it all happened was doing more like community events and organising like open box prop days where people would just come along and have a play, and we wanted to do more like events and stuff as well, and just bringing like people together,
Great. Cool.
So as soon as we can get back on that, I think we will.
Well, I really look forward to seeing it.
Edinburgh's got like a very wide-ranging and varied circus and performing arts population here. There's, I guess, acrobats, fire spinners, jugglers, and then a couple of like fusion groups on them as well. So we've got, or had, I don't really know what tense I'm supposed to discuss all of this in still anymore. Things like Tollcross State Circus, which has been running on Monday nights for, maybe you can verify this, since the late 70s.
Yeah, it's a long,
Like,
long time. It's like
one of
30 years or something.
One of the oldest running ones in the UK.
Yeah.
Had the Fire Club, who runs on the Meadows by the Pavilion.
Monday nights, 9 o'clock, 8 o'clock on a Monday night.
Still on hiatus, I think, at
Yeah.
the moment. But that's also been going for, I think, possibly around.
It was going when I started juggling 20 years ago, so yeah.
Yeah.
And it was bigger then, actually. But yeah.
And then inside of those, there's been lots of other like smaller groups like springing up to really like just sort of focus in on certain or specific skills.
Yeah.
So like partner acrobatics and hand to hand has become very popular. So there's acrobatics class Edinburgh. I think they also run some sessions down at Room to Move, sort of a parkour and circus gym. And also we got the Aerial Art House, out in Wrestle Rig, and things like Aerial Haven, All or Nothing. Yeah.
These are all spaces in Edinburgh. Plus you've got the big shed.
The big shed, all the way out in Musselburgh, which is again a variety of sort of performance artists working on sort of installations, sculptures, fire troops there.
And Pyroceltica.
Yeah, Pyroceltica as well.
And also you might notice in some of the shots of the shop that there are a lot of kendamas in the shop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So is that a big thing in Edinburgh, or
It's
just in general?
It's growing into a thing in Edinburgh. There's a new sort of like community group that was established earlier on this year. Unfortunately, actually, just in the first couple of weeks of lockdown, Old Town Kendama. We've got a group through in Glasgow called Sign Kendama, who have also been pushing the scene in the community a bit.
Yeah.
Actually, I think maybe some people haven't seen a kendama or know what it is. Do you fancy doing a couple of quick kendama tricks for you? Yeah.
Totally do that.
That's a big cup.
that!
You can't even buy these anymore.
No. I mean, now, like, basic stuff, you got all the, like, cups. And
Oh, very
in the first
nice.
time. And then, I mean, after that, there's just endless amounts of possibilities of, like, what he says on camera.
First time.
First time. Second time,
We don't worry, we love the drop on this channel.
go for the easy version.
Yeah, nice.
Balances and, like, flips.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah, all sorts of craziness.
Great.
Endless amounts
And
of, like...
where does it come from, the kendama?
It's a really traditional, like, Japanese toy, but maybe what, like, I've been saying 10 years for a long time, so it's probably more like 15 now. But about 10, 15 years ago, there was a load of skaters who went to Japan for a competition and brought them back to the States with them. And then it's just gone like worldwide ever since.
Yeah.
And it's exploding at the moment.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's cool. Yeah,
Really?
there is some absolutely incredible kendama stuff out there. Things you really wouldn't believe. It's the new yo-yo, I think. in some
Yeah,
ways.
yeah.
I think it crosses a lot more into like, you know, like prop manipulation than you definitely does. So the different elements and balance and flips and
Yeah.
a string.
It's it's absolutely nuts. Colin, I wanted to ask you a little bit. You're involved with the committee that runs the new Scottish Juggling Convention,
Yeah.
and you were going to do the British Juggling Convention as well.
Yeah.
First of all, just tell us about the Scottish last year, how that came about and how that went.
So the Scottish last year it went great, I think, personally.
Yeah, I agree.
It was the first Scottish convention we've had in 10 years, so yeah, it was really fun. The kind of motivation behind that was me and Avril, who is one of the Dundee jugglers who I learnt to juggle with. Her partner Duncan had run the BJC before that and had been involved in the old Scottish convention. And they were wanting to do it for a while, so we'd been like talking between us about getting a convention together just because it'd be nice if Scotland had one. And yeah, last year went great, and this year unfortunately didn't happen.
Something happened.
But
Something
next
got
year
away.
will.
So when did you take the decision to cancel it?
Very late.
Very late.
Yeah.
Right.
We hadn't actually announced it, but we were just about to announce it when all the lockdown stuff started. And so we kind of held off like making any decisions until we found out what was going to happen. But I think we just decided internally in like May or something that we were going to not
And the British as well, you were supposed to do the British as well as
Yeah.
in Perth, was
Yeah,
coming
yeah.
to Scotland. Is that just getting postponed? Is it still
That
coming
is
to
still
Scotland?
happening. That is happening next year. Luckily, the venue are really nice.
Great.
And they have just decided to carry our deposit on to next year, which was the big issue about it having to get cancelled.
Fantastic. Great. So next year, juggling convention in Scotland, British and Scottish, look out for them. Well, thank you so much for taking the time for the
Thank
interview
you for coming
today.
along.
Really
Thank
appreciate
you.
it.
Yeah.
And these guys are Cascade, and you should really check it out for all your juggling and prop stuff. Thanks a lot.
Awesome.
Cheers, guys. Woo.
Never been interviewed before. That's interesting.
You did well. You did very well.